The mother of a young Israeli man who was taken hostage by Hamas in the October 7th attack is being honored as a woman of valor. Haim is speaking tonight to a charity in Toronto that provides support for Jewish hospital patients. Her son Yotam was trying to escape from Hamas captivity in December when he was killed by Israeli troops who mistook him for a threat and opened fire. 2 other Israeli hostages also died. Haim joins me now. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
In general or today?
In general.
In general, we had a very, very, very serious event in our life. It's changed my life. The 7th of October changed all of the Israeli people life and myself and my family life. But from this disaster, what's happened to us in the 7th of October, if you ask me how I feel that I'm learning every day about abilities, about powers, about ways that a person can handle a thing like this disaster, but to look at it differently. I didn't know how I will survive what happened. My son died at this, not in the 7th of October, but he was killed in the 15th of December. And my life had changed, but as I said, I can see also the powers and the way to handle such a difficult thing.
I know this may be difficult, and you don't have to answer this if it's too traumatic for you, but can you tell me a little bit about that moment that you found out that your son was killed?
Of course, yes. My son Yotam, he was kidnapped from his house in Kibbutz Kfar Aza on the 7th of October, and he was 65 days in captivity. We know that he was alive and surviving and very, very strong there. But after 70 days, in the 15th of December, and the army came and told us that Yotam was killed by IDF while he was recognized mistakenly as a terrorist when he was escaped Hamas captivity with other 2 friends of him, Samer and Alon. And it was the worst day of my life, of course, ever. And it was like a black day. For me, it was a black day because 70 days I was hoping and I believed with all my heart, we all believed, all of Israel believed that Yotam will come back home. We knew that he is alive, and there was a very, very good chance. And then when it happened and they told me, it was like all was black and no hope anymore, nothing to believe, nothing to believe.
You say that you do not blame the IDF soldiers who killed your son. Why is that?
Why is that? I'm an Israeli citizen. I born in Israel, and I was in the army myself. My father was in the army. My husband was in the army, and we all go to the army. I felt since it's happened, since this war happened, and all my life, that the soldiers are like my children, and I treated them for all the time, all this the time of the war. The soldiers and their mothers and their fathers like my own family. I felt, when it happened, I felt very, very sorry. I felt very disappointed, but I was not angry about the soldiers. I understood that in a war zone, everything can happen, and I knew that nothing was in purpose. I thought about these soldiers and thought about their emotions and how they are feeling, because they wanted, this was their mission, to bring hostages alive to Israel, but they didn't bring them alive, they shoot them. And I know now, afterwards, I knew that the army was in such a terrible moral. And when I told them this message, it's really, really, really helped our army to get up again and to stand up, to continue to do what they need to do, to try to bring our hostages back.
Let me just ask you finally what your message is to the government in Israel right now, and also to other families whose loved ones are still being held hostage as this war continues.
Since the beginning of the war, I always said that I'm a nurse. I'm a palliative care nurse. I believe with all my heart that our government is doing the best that they can. My message is to continue to do what they know to do. I'm not an officer in the army, and I'm not a diplomat. Like I said, I don't have any knowledge what is standing in front of them. They need to deal with very, very, very problematic issues. There was issues in all of our the Israel period history, and for the families. I tell all the families when I'm meeting them, continue to believe, continue to pray, continue to be strong until you will not hear anything else. Your son is alive and he will come back. I trust with all my heart, like I said, my army, even that they killed Yotam, but not in purpose, of course, that they are doing the best. We have the best army in the world, the best intelligence, and I believe, like I said, that all of them will come back home sooner or later. I hope sooner.
Yes, no, and everyone is hoping that the hostages come home soon. Iris, we thank you so much for your time this evening here on Canada Tonight.
Thank you so much.
There's Iris Haim joining us.